we're doing the video on a Lexus today, okay? Now, is this really a Lexus though? Yes, it is a Lexus. Don't mind the Toyota badges, and don't mind how I had to spend, okay, like, first of all, a lot of money, and second of all, a lot of time sourcing and tracking down, yeah, these beautiful Toyota Aristo badges. Also, don't worry about the number plate. V300. Get a clip. Get a clip. So, enough flexing, except this whole video is a flex. So, right. Now, the whole thing is that essentially, I went to do an internship at Toyota head office. Okay, next day, it's actually been about a week. So I'm continuing this video. This video will be a walk around and a flex of my Lexus, okay? So, to reiterate the point, it is a GS300 by VIN and from factory. There is no doubt about that. I am not pretending that this is a Aristo whatsoever. I know it's a GS300 and it will always be a GS300. The whole point is that I got a cheap GS300, cheap, and I'm essentially going to convert it to an Aristo later down the line. At the moment, the only thing that's Aristo about it is the badges. As I was showing earlier, the reason I'm sitting inside is because I want to show the interior a little bit, and plus it's kind of windy outside, but I will do some outside shots and talk about the modifications I've done so far and what it needs doing still and what I'm gonna do with it and all the servicing and all the shit that I've done before. So Lexus, as you can see, I have a shirts tucked in shifter that I paid quite a bit for, actually, because it was from Australia, and like half the money I paid for it was like taxes and all this bullshit. But yeah, so it has black leather interior and half tinted windows, because this side is kind of light, and if you look, this side is kind of tinted. I don't know if you can tell, but the reason that that side isn't tinted is because the car was broken into before I bought it. All the two windows on that side was smashed, and obviously with that the tint was gone, and they never retinted them after the break-in. But I have plans on sorting that out. I have a contact with who will be able to tint the windows for me for a good price and stuff like that. I'm probably just gonna get the whole car redone except the rear windshield to like pretty much limo spec, limo tint, just because I feel like it will look sick. Now, I bought this car with 199 or 198k, and it's got 205,000 right now. I got it in probably end of August, beginning of September. I think it was like first week of September last year. So in the space of September, October, November, December, January, 5-ish months, I have put 6,000 miles on it, or so, 5,000 miles, which is not that bad. And this thing runs like a fucking dream. It's on right now, you can't even hear it. I would pop the bonnet for you, but I think the bonnet cable was not, it's broken. Because my little thing here, I don't know if you'll be able to see, probably not, but the actual thing for popping the bonnet is popped, but my bonnet is not popped. So I think the bonnet cable snapped somewhere, because from what I was reading, there's like 3 sections of it, and one of the sections usually snaps, not the whole cable, if that makes sense. So essentially the only way to undo it is for me to get rid of, like, jack the car up a little bit, move the under tray away, and like pull it with like, just pull the actual cable that is right next to the thing that pops the bonnet. So I don't really need to open the bonnet. The only reason I would need to do that is to fill up my washer fluid, but I'll just get to that eventually. It's not bothering me at the moment. I don't need to go into the engine bay for any reason. So anyway, yeah, I think this is it for the interior. I will go to the exterior now and hope that it's not too windy. I'm gonna try and stand to where the wind doesn't hit the camera so that you can actually hear me. But if there is wind noise, I apologize. I'm very sorry. I can't do anything. It's fucking January and apparently it's winter. Like, what the fuck is that? So I come out now to do this video, and there's all this shit on my car, which is like fucking concrete or something. it's fucking stupid. Like, it's just gonna scratch the car, so I need to like power wash it. I literally just washed this car like last week. Anyway, I'm gonna do a walk around and try to get some nice shots for you guys just to see what's going on. So as it sits, it has no front plate because I don't like how that looks. I will be doing a smoothing of the bumper because there's all these holes here. You can kind of hear it running, but barely. So yeah, this is how it sits. You just put the specs of the wheels in the description for whoever's interested. The fronts are 19 by 9, the rears are 19 by 10, with like pretty close to 0 ET as far as I remember, or maybe it's close to like 20, something like that, 10 or 20. So as you can see, it's black exterior with black interior, which is kind of the whole point of this car. This is where the break-in happened, so I'm probably going to look to fill this in or maybe get a new door eventually. So this is the ride height of the rear. I am almost tucking rim, which is, you know, what I want to do eventually. I might lower the front a little bit extra as well. What you actually saw me doing earlier in the video was lowering the car because I was going to go take pictures for it for this blog, which I'm going to mention in a second. So there is quite a lot of cosmetic damage that needs sorting on this car, like a new rear bumper. Like, it doesn't, like, I feel like the rear bumper is kind of bent because it doesn't really align with the boot properly. So I'm going to source a new rear bumper. Like, all the paint is cracked. I don't know if you can tell. It needs a new rear bumper, 100%. Maybe a new boot as well because there's quite a lot of scratches, or maybe I'll just repaint it. It has the antenna, so this is how you can tell that it's a GS300. So it is sitting on HSD dual tech coilovers, which I got brand new from Driftworks. So shout out to Driftworks, they did a really good deal. The weds are not in the best condition. They will probably need relipping eventually. And when I do relip them, I will make them a better offset and a wider J. So I'll probably do 11J rears because there is space under here. Like, you can kind of tell that, you know, it's kind of sunk in terms of where it's sitting. So I do have about a couple inches or so, a few maybe, of extra wheel space to do. And I think eventually I want to do like a proper sexual fitment where the lip of the wheel is like outside the arch, but the tire is inside the arch and it's static. That's my goal for this car. I did find a set of bags for £1,500, but that I don't know, I just don't really feel like doing bags on this. It would be sick to do bags because that's just a complete flex, but I feel like static is just the way I do it. Yeah, so as I was saying, cosmetic stuff. So essentially, like, that's kind of the main stuff I've done to this, is the coilovers and the badges and the wheels. Now I do need new tires, and I need to sort out the sizing of my tires because they are like, they're just mismatchy and annoying tire sizes. Like, I've got two 35/35 fronts and two 35/40 rears, which I don't know, it's just not nice. Oh my god, it's so nice to be inside. It's no longer freezing. My hand literally just froze from holding this camera. Yeah, it's not nice outside. It looks nice because it's sunny, but it's actually horrible because it's windy and freezing. So that's essentially all the exterior stuff that I wanted to show. I did show the badges, I showed the wheels, I talked about the coilovers. When you're buying a GS300, make sure that you get a good one. So don't get one that's rusted. That's the first thing I looked at this. I jacked it up and I laid underneath and I looked at everything. The only place there is rust is not rust, it's like corrosion. You would expect corrosion on any car ever. It's kind of on the actual physical subframe itself, not where it mounts or on the jacking points or anything like that, or the sills. The whole car itself, like the physical unibody of the car, is solid. Just some of the arms and some of the subframe stuff can use a bit of attention in terms of, I don't know, like dropping it down and powder coating it and rebushing everything, which is what I did on the E36. But this is a daily, so I'm not planning to do that for a long time. Otherwise, the car is completely solid. For 205,000 miles, this car is on point. When I bought it, it had brand new cooling system. So like brand new water pump, brand new thermostat, new rad, new like hoses and all of that kind of stuff. everything was shiny in the engine bay. It was really sick. So, you know, this car was a taxi before this as well. It had some just fucked up paint work from where they had the stickers and they had to take it off and all of that. Dom, who you guys saw in the 323 buying video, he helped me sort out the paint because he's a bit of a genius when it comes to fucking paint work and like actually, you know, returning the original sexiness of paint. I have no clue about that, like detailing and all of that stuff, and like polishing and buffing. I have no idea what any of that means. So he's my G for that. You know, the car still needs a lot of work because it's just old and just shit condition paint. I think eventually I will just repaint the whole car to the same color it is, just so that it's good condition. Anyway, apart from that, the stuff that I had to work on when I first got the car, even still now, but because of a different thing, which I'm going to talk about in a sec, when you would get on the brakes, the whole car would vibrate like really violently. A guy I used to hang out with had an IS200, and he said that is to do with the slide pins, and I was like, what the fuck is a slide pin? I've never even heard of that. And he essentially explained to me that it's like a sleeve which a bolt goes through that holds your caliper, and it essentially adjusts itself to the thickness of the pad. And like, anyway, so that whole fucking assembly was fucked up, and they're like £10 on eBay or something like that, 15, 20, I don't know, for the whole set. So I just got a new set of all of these slide pins, replaced them, and everything was fine with the brakes. It was fine. Because the fucking slide pins was so bad, when I would go over a speed bump, it would make like a really bad like metal on metal sort of clunky sound, which was horrible. I just thought that I had like really bad bushes or something like that. So because of that, I replaced my ARB drop links. So they're all new, unnecessarily. I did that while I was doing the coilovers anyway, so it wasn't like a separate job or anything like that. It's just mainly been sorting out the vibrations and the annoying noises from the front. There are no annoying noises, but there are still vibrations, because me and Vasil have been diagnosing, and essentially my front right caliper is like stuck. Not stuck, but like it moves slowly, like one of the pistons, which essentially it causes vibration every time I get on the brakes. And it's okay on fuel, so I just use it for longer journeys, like if I'm going up to Oxford to visit Miranda, or if I'm going to London to see Vess and stuff like that. What I'm going to do, instead of getting a new caliper, I'm going to get a rebuild kit and just rebuild the whole caliper. And I'm probably going to get new brake lines, like the soft line that goes from the hard line on into the caliper, just because it could be that the inside of the line has like corroded and it's causing like a valve kind of thing where the fluid can't really go back up properly, if that makes sense. This is all what Vasil has told me, by the way. I have no clue about cars, basically, in terms of all of this like actual nitpicky mechanic stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna end up getting this kit soon and replacing it, just because it's really annoying when I'm doing 70 on the motorway and I need to slow down because someone is an idiot in front of me and doesn't know how to drive or overtake properly. When I get on the brake, it just, like, the whole car shakes about really violently and it's super annoying. So I need to sort that out. But otherwise, the car is mint, like literally perfect. I feel like I've got my front coilovers too low, or I haven't really sorted the spring preload, because every time I go over like a really deep pothole, I feel like the shocks bottom out. I've spoken to Driftworks about it, like over email and stuff like that, and they said that I should give more spring load to my spring to make it stiffer, so that the spring does more work than the shock, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if this makes any sense, but I essentially need to do that very soon, because it's not a problem. I just would prefer, when I go over a speed bump, to not need to like slow down. Not speed bump, sorry, like a pothole. Okay, so now to go over the plans. I am driving away now and I forgot to do the plans bit, so I'm doing it after. So if it looks weird on the video, don't worry about that. So my plans with this car is essentially, I'm not really sure, but at the moment it's just a daily. I'm not planning to make it into a drift car or anything mental like that. I do like the way this thing drives though, and with an auto gearbox and an open diff, it slides. Okay, I have been to Mexico, and this car slides really, really nicely, even with a open diff and auto gearbox. So this just tells me that the chassis is sick for drifting and stuff like that. So I think one day, if I want to be a flexer and like just live some crazy ass lifestyle, I will build this into a drift car, but not anytime soon. My ultimate goal is to do a full Aristo swap, as in a 2J GTE, LSD rear end, and just make it a real Aristo. My plans, basically, Toyota gave me, when I was at Toyota for the internship, they gave me a original like 1998 brochure from a Japanese dealership for the Aristo, and in the brochure it tells you all of the options that you have, all of the different engines, all of the different like trim levels and all of that kind of stuff. And there is factory aero that isn't Vertex. It's actually a factory Toyota aero kit that you could get for the GS300. So my ultimate goal will be to source that and put it on this car, because I think that's sick as fuck. It's kind of like the equivalent to like OEM AC Schnitzer bumpers, you know what I mean, for like an E36. Just in case you're an E36 person and you don't know Jap cars. Not that I know them, but this is just kind of how I see it. I do have plans to get an aftermarket like Vertex steep steering wheel to replace this one, just because it's kind of ugly looking. You know, it's not that pretty, but it does have the cruise control option here, which I really like, because I drive with cruise control all on the motorways always. So to get an aftermarket steering wheel, I'm going to need an aftermarket hub, which the only way to utilize the cruise control is to like wire it up to like buttons on the hub, which I think will ultimately be just kind of annoying to use, because the hub is like in the center, whereas this is kind of like flappy paddles and I get to fucking use it how I want, if that makes sense. So I need to really think about how I'm gonna do this. I might just see if I can like think up some mental like design where I get to utilize the original sort of lever for the cruise control while also using an aftermarket steering wheel. It's just a lot of planning and thinking, and it's just, this car isn't a priority for me at all. This is just something that when I have extra money to throw at a project and my E36 is fully sorted, which is never, I will just spend money on this and make it nice. So I'm gonna get onto the whole Toyota internship thing that I mentioned earlier. So essentially what happened was, I went to this internship and they asked me to write a blog post about my car. And what I was doing is I was lowering it to go take pictures of it for that blog. This blog, I think, crossing my fingers, as far as I'm aware, will be out when this video is out. So go to the description and read the blog post, because it's like, I'm really proud of the work I've done basically, and it will kind of give you an idea of where my car stacks up in terms of like actual Toyota stuff. The fact that they wrote that they are posting a blog about my car just shows how like on it the whole brand is. I don't know how to explain it, but just go have a read of the blog and just surf around their whole blog and read all the stories and stuff. It is UK specific, so if you're in the US, then I don't know how relevant it will be to you, but it's still really good to see how Toyota is handling everything in terms of their approach to like the modified car scene and all of that kind of stuff. I think you can leave comments on there, so maybe leave a comment on there saying that you came from the video. That'd be cool. Or just leave a comment saying what you think of the car or the blog itself. Yeah, that's pretty much it about this car. It's just, I felt like I had to get a good daily and just, you know, like grow up a little bit instead of fuck around with all these BMWs, except I am still fucking around with these BMWs. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know if you like this car, like give me your opinions on the car and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I will see you in a different video. See you later.